What have you learned about your team so far this year?
Well, I think we're a competitive group. Certainly our experience has paid off. I think that's been a key thing. Having older guys who've been in a lot of games that kind of know how to navigate the season. We're a more confident group than we've ever been. I noticed that even in the summer. There just was a quiet swagger to our guys about, we're a good team now. And I think they've shown that in their play, and so we played a good schedule in the non-league, and winning some of those games, I think, just enhanced that belief in those guys that, we were a good team, we can be competitive, and now that you get into conference, it's you guys are already seeing it's just every night is a battle. Doesn't matter who you're playing, where you're playing them, and you gotta go into every game with maximum preparation and try to do the best you can.
Have you seen parity like this before in the league?
Yeah, I mean, certainly for me, it's year 4, so it's kind of new to me. I've followed it a lot as a fan, but I think what you're seeing is there's just really a lot of good teams. Like there is no upper, middle, bottom. I just think you got to play every game in front of you. I mean, you guys, I don't have to go through all the results, but there are probably a lot of games where you're like, man, there's no way that team. Well, yeah, they did. They can win on the road. They can beat that team, and it just shows. And we talk about it as a team. It shows you got to play every night, and every game is its own. We try to liken the conference to kind of like a boxing match. It's 18 rounds, and you got to try to win each round. You go into every round. You come out of that corner and you give everything you have into that round. And, hopefully when the dust settles, you win more rounds than you lose, and if you lose more, then you're knocked out. So that's kind of the way we approach it. And it's been a good way, I think, to kind of really lock into what the game is in front of us and not get ahead of ourselves.
How big is holding home court?
Oh, it's huge, and what you've seen, though, in the league is there have been a lot of teams win on the road. And that's a little bit uncharacteristic. You don't see that as much, at least you haven't in the last couple of years. So, at the end of the day, you want to take care of your home court. You have to, and especially if you want to, fare well in the conference. And so we're one of the last. I think we might be the last team to have had a home game. Maybe us in Nebraska. So we've yet to play at home, and I know we're excited. School's back in session starting today, so hopefully we'll have a good turnout Thursday night and can create an atmosphere that will really help our guys out there on the court.
Chris, what was the most disappointing thing about it?
The most disappointing thing, just the start of the game. I think that first 8 minutes, I thought we just, for whatever reason, we were just, whether it was the environment, their energy, whatever it was, that first 8 minutes of the game, they had us on our heels. We were a little bit shell-shocked, and all of a sudden it's 28-9. You can't spot a team 19 points on the road in this conference and expect to win. That being said, if you look at the last 30 minutes of that game, we played pretty well. Offensively we weren't great, but I thought in terms of competing and defending and, to get it back to 48-44 and have multiple possessions, with the ball, with a 4-point deficit, I thought was very positive. And we just can't get off to that poor of a start. And, that's something we got to do better.
After 2 months of good
What's that?
After 2 months of good starts.
Yeah,
Was that a surprise?
I thought it was a little surprising. We've normally been a team that gets off to a good start, and again, I thought it was the best environment we'd played in that year. I mean, there was a great crowd. It was really loud. I mean, you guys know Breslin Center's not an easy place to go in and play and win, and for whatever reason, I thought we just were on our heels a little bit to start the game, and I'll chalk that up to being uncharacteristic of who we've been, and hopefully we'll do a better job on Thursday.
Bryant's shooting percentage a little down this year.
Yeah. Yeah, you just want to make sure he's taking the right shots, and that's the whole key. We want him taking good shots, and I mean, he's one of our biggest keys, if not our biggest key. So we can't tell him now, okay, stop shooting because you haven't been making shots. I think what you do is you watch the film and you get with them and you say, would you consider this to be a good shot? And a lot of them are yes. And look, I'm a big guy in law of averages. I mean, if you're a good shooter, I think at the end of the day, it's all going to average itself out. So what I try to tell him is at some point in time, you're going to go on a hot streak and you're going to be on fire. And hopefully it'll start on Thursday night. I mean, I don't know if he's back to 100%, but he's doing great. He was cleared to start doing some basketball things at the end of last week. And, so he's had about a week of activity, which has been good. He's looked good in practice. He hasn't favored the hand at all. He's feeling good. So, barring any setbacks, he should be ready to go on Thursday night.
What do you expect to get out of them?
How big do you have that depth?
Yeah, I mean, he's huge. I mean, I thought, that was one of the things the other night in Michigan State. We were a big guy down. So, two of our big guys got in foul trouble, and we had to go super small. Sanjay had to play extended minutes at the center position, which makes us a lot more vulnerable. So just having that extra guy on the front line, I think in Derek's case, what he knows, he's a big part of our team. He knows how important he is. I think the thing that's important for him is to not feel like he has to be a savior and come back. We saw that a little bit with Alex Ola last year, and we even joked about Alex missed a month last year. And the first game he came back, he was so excited. He was so anxious. He tried to do too much. He got ahead of himself and didn't play very well. So I think the thing with Derek is just to keep it simple, who he is, bring the energy, be the anchor for us defensively, blocking shots, rebounding, finish underneath the basket, and just kind of let the game come to him and not try to come out thinking he's the savior. Just kind of be another piece to what we've already been doing. The good thing was we were able to manage the 8 games going 7-1, and so we got through that stretch. We won a number of games, and now getting him back, I think it'll be a big boost to our team.
What's impressed you about Minnesota start this year?
Minnesota's a good team. I mean, they have all the pieces. Nate Mason, his play, first and foremost. Right now, I think he's a first-team All-League, maybe been the best guard in the conference when you put up his production and what he's done. The addition of Reggie Lynch inside, the shot blocking, the defense, the rebounding, the added scoring. You add Amir Coffey as a premier freshman coming in, 6'7", long, athletic wing. They're athletic, they're good, they're confident. And you look at them, they have 2 losses. They lost to Michigan State in a game they probably should have won. They were leading the whole way. And then they lost at Florida State, who's one of the best teams in the country. So this is an outstanding basketball team. They showed it. They went on the road, won at Purdue. And they have our utmost respect, and we know we're going to have to play great in order to beat them.
Chris, are there parallels between them and their fourth-year return, Patino and
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was a little bit different. I mean, I think Richard walked in. He had a veteran-laden team his first 2 years. He had a team that had been to the NCAA tournament and won. And then he wins the NIT in year 1, and then his kind of rebuild began last year. Where they were real young and kind of had brought in a bunch of guys, and they did a great job. They added a couple of key transfers, Reggie Lynch and then Akeem Springs from Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And then they have 2 premier freshmen, Eric Curry and Amir Coffey. So now you add those guys to Jordan Murphy, Nate Mason, and McBrayer. Now you got a pretty good team. So I give Richard credit. He did a great job with all the turmoil last year, all the talk, he stayed the course. He's done a really good job rebuilding that team and getting them to be a high-level Big Ten team this year.
Granted that every game's important. When Jim was doing your game against Penn State, he talked about the importance of a team on the make like you, winning games against the teams from the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Do you go along with that? And then does that make
Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to win in a league like the Big Ten, you got and I thought that's why I thought even last year was key in that reason. Like, we were the most chalked team in America last year. I think we finished 9th in the league, and we won every game except one. The teams that finished below us, and we lost every game except one that the teams finished above us. So we were exactly who we were. We were the 9th best team, and so now I think when you're competing to be those teams that are in the mix at the end of the year, certainly you have to win games against teams that are fighting for the same thing you're fighting for. And we did a great job of that last year. Going on the road and winning at Penn State was a big step in the right direction. And for us now playing a team like Minnesota, I mean, I think Minnesota is a team that's going to be relevant all year long. Watching them on film, this is not a fluke. This is a good team. And so we know, in our preparations, we're going to have to play at a high level in order to win the game.
Do you see any comparisons between the 2 programs with you and Richard and your coaching thing, and then both teams being pretty improved from last year?
Yeah, I mean, he and I have become really good friends. We came into the league at the same time. We both have similar upbringings. Our fathers were coaches. We grew up with basketball. Grew up kind of with that name attached to us where you have to deal with other pressures and other things and expectations. So we have a lot in common. Both young coaches coming into this conference, a mix, great coaches and traditions and all those things. So I think because of that, we've developed a good relationship, and I respect what he's done there. I mean, I think you look at where they're at, and they've had highs and lows just like we have, and I think both of our programs are in a really good place going forward.
I think Scottie and Gavin were both in Croatia at the moment.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what happened there in Croatia? Because those are two of the most improved players on your team.
Yeah, I just think anytime you get a chance to play in the summer in games, it's a good thing. And we wanted to set it up for those two guys because we knew those two guys were going to be keys to our season. We had Vic coming back, and Vic had the opportunity to go to the Under Armour All-American camp and play there, and Bryant went to the Curry camp. So to have Gavin and Scottie to be able to go overseas and get some games, and have Pat be a coach on the staff and kind of be monitoring their progress, I think was a big thing for them, and it gave them both a lot of confidence coming into the season.
What specifically with player development do you work on with them? Is there new roles Coach Baldwin talked about?
Well, I just think being a little bit more aggressive offensively. Neither of those guys, even though Scottie's been a scorer at heart, I think both of those guys, just being able to get the ball, put the ball in the basket, make plays, create. For Scottie, he had opportunity over there. He handled the ball a lot. Pat even had him be a point guard at times, where he was able to not just be a catch and shoot player. So I think it really helped with his off the dribble stuff. I think with Gavin, we've always seen Gavin could be that guy and be that guy who could score and defend and rebound and all those things. But just to put it all together and to be a key guy on that team in Croatia, I think he had double-figure scoring games. He was able to go over there and shoot and play and make plays. I think those are all that can only help your development, and something that was big for both of those guys.
What did you learn about this team so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're a lot better than what we've been, and we're just continuing to grow. We're much more talented than what we've been, and now it's just going day by day and being sharp and executing, and that can take us quite far because we're a lot more skilled, a lot more disciplined, and a little bit tougher.
Just knowing the stretch that you have coming up here, some games that you kind of have to win to reach the ultimate goal. What's the mindset of the team, and what do you guys need to improve?
Yeah, we're just thinking about being a little bit tougher and finishing games, and we took a tough loss the last game, but we showed growth in the fact that we just didn't roll over and die. We came back and battled. We didn't have our best game. We didn't have our A game with us, and we still battled. It was a close game, so just understanding we have to execute better, especially down the stretch.
What was the most disappointing part of that loss of that game?
The fact that we had it to 4 points and three possessions with the ball, and it was a 4-point game 3 times in the second half, and never cut it closer and never made it a run at that point, that we weren't tough enough to do that. That was disappointing, but it's something we can learn from and build on.
How do you explain the slow start?
I think they came out and made a run and kind of put us on our heels, and the atmosphere may have had a little bit to do with it. It was a good atmosphere. It's probably the best one we've played against so far. So, it happens. We usually are the ones coming out and having a great start, but it wasn't the case that game.
Why do you guys think you've had such a good start this year?
I just think we're, each year we just have gotten older. We're just a much older, more experienced team from the top down, including Coach Collins. This is his 4th year of being a head coach, all the way down to, some of us finally growing up from being freshmen now to juniors and seniors. So the just as a group, we've just gotten older and more mature and understanding and learned how to win. Yeah.
How does that affect you?
It's great. It takes a lot of pressure off of me. Really happy for him because he's worked so hard and he deserves it. And now he's learning. He's getting the other team's best defender on him. So now he's got to learn how to find ways to score for us still. So the film against Michigan State was good for him, especially to learn that he's got to do some other things to make it easier on himself to score. So I think that was one thing he could take away from it, and he's done a tremendous job, and he'll learn and he'll build on it.
What did they do?
Back, how do you think that's going to change how you attack these games?
You know, we'll have a little bit more of an inside presence, and we'll have our guy that rebounds the best for us and protects our basket. And having him back, I think, will just give us a little bit more juice. So having the full roster will be a great thing to have back.
What did they do to Scott the other night? You say that you saw him.
Yeah, I mean, they just pushed his catches out farther on the floor, made it tougher on our entire offense to run offense. So we have to work harder to get entries into our offense and then set up cuts a little bit better. So those are a few things.
Did you guys settle for what they were giving you rather than taking what you wanted?
A little bit. They just pushed us out so far on the floor that it was hard for us to run our offense.
What do you see in the Gophers?
They're really improved from last year. Nate Mason's playing tremendous. Coffey's great. He's playing really well. So they're really athletic, and we're going to have to keep Murphy and those guys off the board. So it's going to be a great challenge. It should be a really good game.
You talked about the Wesleyan Center's atmosphere kind of playing a role. Are you hoping, and how big can your crowd?
For sure. I mean, you got to hope that we have a great crowd, especially home court advantage. It helps a little bit, but I mean, we just have to worry about us and showing up. If we rely on fans to show up and give us energy, then we could be in a world of hurt, just because if you don't show up to play each night, you can get beat, and I think that's shown in this Big Ten season.
With how wacky the Big Ten's been so far, do you see this game as maybe an opportunity to establish yourself in the hierarchy that's sort of been jumbled up so far?
Yeah, it's an opportunity, but you can also let an opportunity slip if you don't show up every night. And, you know, you see wins from other teams going into places that are, or environments that are kind of shocking that they pulled out a win. So you just have to show up every night and be ready to compete.
Speaking of Mason, he had a big game in their last win over Purdue. Does the competitor in you kind of get excited for individual matchups like that?
I mean, yes and no. It's not an individual game, so it's a team sport, so that's one thing that's about it. But just defending and taking a challenge on that end of the floor and trying to slow him down and make him work for the things. But that's also a team thing. It's not just a one-on-one matchup.
With the stretch coming up of some important games, is it too early to call any games a must-win, or what's your approach in these next couple of games?
No, I mean, I think you have to take every game as a must-win. And if you don't show up as a must-win, then you'll get your doors blown off, because every team in this league now is a lot better, much more improved, more experienced, and it's going to be a close fight for a Big Ten championship, I think.
Scoring 31 points the other night, do you feel like it might be a little bit of a marked man this season?
Oh yeah, my coaches have been stressing that point to me for the last couple of days, that I'm going to be on people's scouting reports now, and people are going to be trying to lock in on me. So that just means I have to work a little bit harder to get the ball and get my shots.
You played such a bigger role this year. Are you starting to feel the pressure a little more, just as much as they're relying on you for scoring?
No, I don't feel any pressure. This is what I wanted. This is what I worked for, to be a big part of my team, and I think it's fun. I want to be a big part of helping this team get to where we want to be.
What have you learned this year about not only yourself but this team?
I think this team is different from any other NU teams. I think our MO is coming into games and throwing the first punch, and I really take pride in that. And I think this team is tough. I think this team's athletic. I think this team is a lot of different things, but I think by the end of the season, this team will be looked at as a winning team.
How important is it to get Derek back?
It's very important. Derek is very experienced for us. He brings a lot of emotion and a lot of leadership, and I won't say he's been the missing piece, because we've played well without him, but when we get back, we'll move to another level with him back.
Has the parity in the Big Ten surprised you at all? Like some of the teams that you thought might be at the top of the league, getting beat by teams that maybe you thought would be at the bottom?
I wouldn't say it surprised me, but it's just good, for Big Ten to have, a lot of different teams winning, a lot more competition this year. So I think it's good.
You guys finally get a Big Ten home game.
Yeah.
How important is it in the conference to defend your home court?
It's not only important to us for the conference, but it was a non-conference too. We didn't lose any games at home there either. So we just want to keep it up and defend our court and not lose any home games.
With some teams coming up like Minnesota, Nebraska, Iowa, teams that you might need to beat to stay in that upper tier of the Big Ten, what's the mindset of a team like going to this next 4-game stretch?
We just got to play our game. We know how good of a team we are. We just got to follow the game plan and scout for each team that we're going up against and play our game. We're good enough.
Would you say it's too early to call any game a must-win, or what's that
No,
mindset?
we think every game is a must-win for us. Like our coach said, the Big Ten is 18 rounds, and we're trying to win every single round. We know we may not win every single round, but every game is just as important to us as the other. So.
You finally got the 6-day break. You went to the Bulls game last night. You had sort of some time to now you have a home game. Haven't been on the same crazy schedule the past month. Has it been nice to sort of get that practice time, that team building time to settle down?
Yeah, it was good. The last game felt like we were a little loose. It was a little bit of slippage in our offense, so I think it's good to get back to working on us, not necessarily scouting all the time and being on the road. So, yeah, this time has been good, but now it's time to get ready for Minnesota.
How do you think the team chemistry has developed over the course of the year?
The team chemistry is great. It's been great since we all came together in the summer. We're all friends. We all hang out. So team chemistry has not been a problem at all this whole year.